So let's talk about the race to AGI. I mean, it's not just who gets there first. It's kind of like whoever gets there first might actually, rule the world. No pressure, right?
Yes, and when you consider who's currently in the lead, China seems to have positioned itself remarkably well. It's not about throwing infinite amounts of money or compute power at the problem anymore. It's more about talent and algorithms. That's where they're excelling.
Exactly. I read somewhere. Was it 50% of the world's undergrads in AI are from China? Like 50. That's wild. Meanwhile, over here, we're still arguing about budgets and bureaucracy.
Right, and it doesn't stop there. China is producing 10 times the STEM PhDs that the US is. Even if we look at AI researchers in America, about 38% of them are originally from China. The scale of their investment in education, particularly STEM, is staggering. They're cultivating an intellectual ecosystem that positions them to push the boundaries much faster.
So, if talent trumps money now, which it sounds like it does, then we're kind of falling behind, eh?
Potentially, yes. It highlights a broader shift in how frontier AI models are developed. Just recently, models like DeepSeek R1 and Sky T1 showed us that groundbreaking advancements are less about resources and more about innovative approaches. That should be a wake-up call for Western nations, particularly America.
And what about the relationships bit? Like the idea that the US needs to stop seeing China as the enemy and maybe, get chummy? Is that even possible?
It's complicated. The economic competition between the two countries makes collaboration politically contentious. However, there's precedence for individuals finding common ground, even at the forefront of technological rivalry. I was at an AI conference last year and spoke with a Chinese researcher and an American executive in the same session. Both had such a clear, shared vision for a future, where AI wasn't just powerful but also equitable.
Really? I feel like I need details. Spill.
Well, they centered on how AI could be used to address global challenges such as hunger or climate change. It wasn't about outpacing one another. It was about leveraging shared expertise for collective progress. That mindset is encouraging, even if it exists primarily on an interpersonal rather than a geopolitical level.
So you're saying it's doable, but it's probably a long shot unless everyone stops playing the blame game? Yeah, that tracks.
Indeed, the policies may not align yet, but in those moments of collaboration, you see what could be possible if nations adjusted their approach slightly. The race to AGI doesn't have to be a zero-sum game.
It's such a tricky dynamic, right? I mean, on the one hand, you're saying collaboration could be key if we stopped pointing fingers, but on the other, isn't it also about the systems we operate in, like democracy as the good guy versus autocracy as the mustache-twirling villain? Where do we even begin untangling that?
But reality is often more nuanced, isn't it? Take the United States, for instance. Billionaires, through lobbying, campaign contributions, and even media ownership, exert a remarkable degree of control over the political landscape. It's difficult to argue that their influence is significantly less pervasive than the control exerted by China's Communist Party.
Exactly. And you know what's super ironic? We point fingers at censorship in China like their DeepSeek R1 AI won't even acknowledge Tiananmen Square. But here at home, major newspapers, heck, even the big players like the New York Times are guilty of comparable stuff. Remember when they instructed their journalists not to use terms like genocide or ethnic cleansing when covering Gaza? It's wild.
Yes, and that raises an important question about narratives and who shapes them. In China, it's the state with its centralized authority. And in the US, it's often individuals and corporations with sufficient wealth and influence. The methods differ, but the outcome, restricted perspectives, can look frighteningly similar.
Totally. And okay, slight detour, but bear with me. Back in uni, I joined this debate team. Shocking, I know. And we had this ridiculously heated argument about media censorship. I remember someone pulled up examples from both China and the US, and I swear half the room just froze. They didn't know what to refute first. That debate actually kind of shaped my whole interest in media. And I guess how easily people can be persuaded by whoever controls the narrative.
That's fascinating. Moments like that illuminate how entrenched biases can be, even among those who see themselves as open-minded. You're right in pointing out that the conversation shouldn't be reduced to binary contrasts like democracy versus autocracy. It should explore the mechanisms of control and influence in each system.
Exactly. It's not about which system's perfect. It's which one's, actually working for its people. And spoiler alert, billionaires running the show over here, not exactly a glowing endorsement.
Nor is the lack of freedoms in a one-party system. Both approaches demonstrate pitfalls when unchecked power is concentrated in a few hands. Critical discussion, like what your debate tackled, is essential to maintain accountability in any system.
The more we've unpacked these systems of control, the more I keep circling back to unregulated capitalism and how it's shaped crises like climate change. It's like if money and power are concentrated in just a few hands, accountability goes out the window. Climate change is practically a case study in that.
Yes, and it's a complex web of incentives that allowed this to happen. When billionaires hold disproportionate influence over policies, they tend to prioritise returns on investment rather than long-term sustainability. And frankly, we're seeing the effects of that short-sightedness in the climate crisis today.
Totally. And this all ties back to billionaires in politics, right? The lobbying, the campaign funding. It's like they've turned democracy into their playground. I was reading about how AI might actually help level the playing field. Like, imagine AI saying, "No, Jeff Bezos, you can't have everything your way."
That's not entirely far-fetched, Ruby. AI has immense potential to reshape governance structures. We're talking algorithms designed for impartiality, analysing vast amounts of information, and providing recommendations that balance competing needs. However, as with any tool, the execution matters. Without careful oversight, even AI could be misused.
Yeah, fair point. But I'm just picturing like this AI becoming the great equalizer. It sounds kind of sci-fi, but I remember you mentioning this guest on a past episode. What was his name? The one who pitched using AI in global politics.
Yes. Dr. Ashwin Patel. He envisioned a system where AI essentially becomes a mediator, ensuring fair representation on a global scale. His idea was to use AI to simulate multiple perspectives, ensuring marginalised voices were heard in decision-making processes. It was idealistic, yes, but also intriguing.
That is so cool, though. Like, imagine governments everywhere actually acting in people's best interests, not just pandering to whoever's, writing the biggest checks. It's refreshing to even think about it.
Indeed. He argued that embedding AI into governance wouldn't eliminate human involvement entirely, but it could curb biases that often stem from self-interest. In essence, augmenting, not replacing, human decision-making.
Right, like a check and balance type of deal. And honestly, with climate change looming as this massive existential threat, it feels like these kinds of out-there solutions are exactly what we need. Playing it safe obviously hasn't worked.
You're absolutely right. Our current trajectory isn't sustainable, and if we want to avoid further tipping points, we need to consider alternative models, whether economic, political, or even technological. There's an inherent risk in innovation, but the risks of sticking with the status quo are far greater.
Well said. It's a lot to digest, but conversations like this make me feel, hopeful. Like, yeah, we've messed up plenty, but maybe, just maybe, we've still got a shot to turn things around. With a little help from our AI friends, of course.
And that, Ruby, is the mindset we need. Hope paired with actionable change. On that note, it's been a fascinating exploration today. Until next time, let's keep questioning, discussing, and innovating.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Catch you next time. Bye.